little while ago, the game we all knew as Post Scriptum was renamed to Squad 44. This is due to the publisher and developer of Squad taking over the development of Post Scriptum. Besides just renaming the game, they promised to restart the stagnated development of Post Scriptum, which led to a lot of community support. The revival of Post Scriptum, or should I say Squad 44, actually seems to have been somewhat successful if we can use the good old Steam charts website. Back in October of last year, less than 100 players were playing the game on average, but this number increased to 700 just after the name change. However, the average and even the peak player numbers have halved in just the last 2 months, as they remain hopeful for the future of what is now called Squad 44. The reason why I wanted to make this video isn't to dive deep into Squad 44's player numbers, but specifically actually talk about their latest news, a roadmap that's been released for the next 6 months about what their plans are going forward. Now, this roadmap is divided in 3 steps. The current operations, which are changes or add-ons that are coming soon or have already happened. The concept stage, which are things that are being worked on to be added at a later date. And lastly, the future operations, which are plans that the developers have for futures or changes and are possibly going to change or also take longer to develop and might fall outside of the scope for this 6-month roadmap. So starting off with the current operations, Squad 44, or at the time Post Scriptum, started off initially with a focus on Operation Market Garden, which is referred to as Chapter 1 of the game. These maps, which are the oldest, are going to get a visual overhaul with new textures. The developers say they are working on refining buildings as well as the environment to create a higher quality looking game. Furthermore, the developer team wants to give new buildable options for logistics players. There are a few screenshots with some examples like anti-tank obstacles or barbed wire, though also new in-place weapons are mentioned, but no pictures are sadly shown. Also, new vehicles are mentioned to be added, but sadly no examples of any are given. However, a ton of new weapons that are going to be coming are laid out in this picture. I should note that besides these new weapons, the weapons already in the game are to receive new textures to make them up to the new quality standard. Now, a straight up assumption from me is that quite a few of these new guns are maybe from the Beyond the Wire game, a World War I game that sadly never saw many players after the initial opening month or two. The weapons are the Enfield M1917, the P14 Sniper, the Berthier 1907 15-M16, the RSC M1917, the MG08 15, the Revolver Model 1892, the Ruby Pistol, the Colt M1917 Revolver, the Webley Mark 6, which actually surprises me because I swear that was already in the game, the Browning High Power P35, and the Pistole 640B, which is really just a German-produced high power under occupation in Belgium. To what degree some of these weapons will actually be used, I'm not sure, though we might see a lot of them back on Chapter 2 maps, which is the invasion of France set in 1940. Moving on to the concept stage part of the roadmap, models and maps from Chapter 1, the Market Garden chapter, are currently being overhauled, reworked, and touched up, but the developers state that other chapters may get a similar overhaul, including updating player models and vehicles. Lastly, a real tutorial is in the work to help onboard new players, which I think is actually very important for games like Squad 44. Lastly, for future operations, the developers have a lot of stuff planned. A new game mode, as well as new weapons to go along with a new faction. This new game mode, and neither the faction, is really described in any detail sadly, but it is said that several weapons are already made and animated for this new faction, so it sounds like they're making decent progress. This faction is allegedly going to release this year, as well as the much requested move to move Squad 44 from 80 to 100 player servers. Something the regular Squad game did a while ago, and the extra player count does make modern Squad battles feel bigger and more immersive, so I hope the developers can make this update work for Squad 44. Personally, I haven't played much of Post Scriptum or Squad 44 since the renaming and now a different developer team took over, but I can't wait to jump in and check out a new faction, which hopefully will come with a new theater in the near future. Now, what do you think of the transformation from Post Scriptum to Squad 44? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.